Hi, here we are again at the house that sat down. Now we've talked about ethos and we've talked about materials and we've talked about how the tutorials are going to run. I think it's about time we actually got on with one. So we're going to start by looking at how to draw feathers and then I will do a second feather tutorial based around painting the same image that we've sketched using watercolours. And after that, I'm planning on doing the same version again in acrylics. Now it's time we started with our feather sketching tutorial. So you'll be needing some plain paper and a pencil and a rubber, although hopefully we won't need the rubber very much. It's really simple. Let's just get started. Usually a good idea to do a bit of research before you start a sketch, and looking at feathers can be really quite helpful. You'll notice that there is a harder section that runs down the centre of the feather, giving it a lot of its shape. And this is really the first bit that we need to get into our sketch so that we know exactly where our feather is going to lie on the page. And of course, once the central section is down, then we need to be looking at the more fluffy, feathery bits on either side. So you can see that I'm bringing the central part of my feather down and I'm curving it round so that the feather appears to be falling with the larger fluffy section towards the floor. So it's curling up there to a nice point. But in order to get that sort of shape, we need to then start at the bottom here so that the front section of the feather is in fact coming towards us. It gives us quite a nice perspective on the feather and it will look very effective when it's finished. So this bit at the bottom here is almost forming like a triangle together at the front there, with lots of filaments coming out on either side, leading up to the very tip of the feather. Initially just getting the rough idea about where it will sit. We'll come back to this bit in a little while once we've got a few more ideas on where the shape's going to go. It's a sort of work in progress, really. You will learn to be able to sort of get your eye in as to what needs to be built up slowly during the course of a sketch. And don't worry if you get it wrong, because it's not always easy to do these things straight away to start with. It's all about a work in progress, really, and just enjoying it as it goes along. So we're moving back up to the neck of the feather now. This is the part, obviously, where it originally attached to the bird before it detached. And you often get these little straggly bits sticking out on either side, very near the tip there. And they will get slowly longer as you then move into the main body of the feather. Start to get longer and start to curve out and down and round. You can see that happening just there. It can be quite interesting if you study the way other artists have tackled feathers. If you just Google images on feathers, and you can see lots of different ways of actually achieving a very nice effect, actually, just using pencil and paper. It takes a bit of patience, really, but then that's the whole point. In order to do this, you do have to relax and just forget about everything else that's going on around you. But I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to put a little bit of birdsong on so that you can just relax and watch, I guess. So we can see you're going back in here now to put a little bit darker pencil work in there, building up the structure of the feather, and it makes it stand out a little more. You need to put a little bit of shadow in, particularly in the lower section and in the depth of the curve as it comes around. Building up the tip again there. So we keep working round this until really we feel that it works in the way that we want. Right, a few darker shadows going in on the main tip here, on the main section, working back up to the start of it. Any minute now, we're going to be nearly done with that, and we can have a look at the finished version. So there we have it, the finished version as a photograph. Now I think I'll just do it quickly in colour pencil as well, so that you can see the difference and how effective it can be. Okay, here you can see I'm coming to the end of the colour version now. I'm using blue and purple and pink, I think, in there. And here is a final photograph of it finished, which is it's quite effective, really, considering we're only using colour pencil. Okay, so we've come to the end of our very first tutorial, sketching with feathers. Look out for the next one, which will be watercolours, and a third one afterwards, which will be the acrylics. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, take care.